social media workshop is coming up.
Yeah.
But I've heard tales of companies that won't hire you unless you have social media profiles, and then because then they can't screen you that way. Is that accurate? Some people say to totally deactivate things like your Facebook while you're on the job.
It's as accurate as the company is saying it's accurate. There are going to be companies that will say that to you, and there are going to be companies that aren't going to say that to you. First of all, I really, really strongly recommend at least LinkedIn. At least. It's a very professional site. Use it that way. Michael Webster is going to be the facilitator for that workshop. His thesis is on social media. So definitely get yourself on LinkedIn and build your profile as best you can. In that workshop, Michael is going to have, you bring your laptops, get on LinkedIn, let's work on your profile, okay? The reason I say that is it came to me just this past week. We've been doing Skype meetings with students, and so I've talked with people in Nova Scotia, people in Toronto and California and Calgary. It just dawned on me while I was working with a number of people, including the ones face-to-face, we want to shorten this CV that you've built down to a combination CV resume. I've talked with the people at the company, they only want to see 3 or 4 pages, you've got 10. So we need to really be very careful on what we take out. It has to be extremely pertinent to the job, what we put on. But hey, why don't we say, for further listings of publications, check out my LinkedIn. You can have your whole CV. You can have a 30-page CV up on LinkedIn. They're only going to look at what they want to look at, right? I love that. Now you can hand in a 2-page resume and say, well, this is only part of my life. If you really want to know who I am, check my LinkedIn. You know, because I'm a facilitator and a career development practitioner. I like to facilitate workshops. But so when I'm applying for work, I'm not going to mention the fact that I was once a fitness instructor and once I drew blood in the lab. Yet the skills involved with both of those jobs are very similar to what I do in facilitating and working with people one-on-one. Do you think there's anybody out there that wants to have a needle put in their arm? I didn't meet one. And I did 200 people a day, not by myself. You know, how many days a week for 5 years? And not one of them said to me, oh, please put a needle in my arm. They were all nervous and scared, and I had to build rapport and have them trust me. Same as anybody I'm working with one-on-one. Because you don't want to tell me things about yourself if you don't trust me, right? So I love that you can guide them to your LinkedIn. What you really, and what Michael will tell you, what you really need to be careful with is your Facebook and any tweets that you put out, what you say in blogs. And I know that there's freedom of speech, but there are going to be people who are in the position to hire you who are going to make a judgment on certain things. So if you're asking for work in oil and gas and you're supporting Neil Young in his stance against the oil fields, take that into consideration. They're probably not going to hire you. Okay? On the other hand, you have to be you. And that's the whole point, because what I want to see is each and every one of the students I work with, including all of you, get into jobs that you love. I want you to get out of bed, yay, I get to go to work today. That's how I get out of bed. I love my job. And the money part isn't as important. If the money part's important to you, that's okay. We all need to have some motivators, and if it's money for you, excellent. Just because it isn't for me doesn't mean it's not right. So, more important is to know what you want, and if you do want to support Neil Young, yet work in oil and gas, and you can make that work, good, as long as you're happy. That's all I want to see. Because if you're not happy, you're going to die. And personally, I think it's terrible to spend 8 hours or more a day at something you don't like to do. Anything else? I keep saying anything else, and then I just keep talking. Mm-hmm.
What's your comment about answering the HR questions? Should someone answer them the way that they want to hear, or truthfully?
Truthfully, I will never, ever, ever, ever tell you to lie. I won't tell you to lie on a resume, cover letter, interview, anything.